Hey everybody, it's your girl Bunny. To all of my returning subscribers, hey, how you doing? And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Kick your feet up, subscribe to this family-friendly channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Also follow me on Instagram at the same profile name so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next. In this video, it's Queen Sugar, Season 7, Episode 11, entitled We Can Be. I give a full episode recap with photos offset to the side, and then I give my review at the end. No need to dig around and keep all of the minute marks in the comments. It's all coming up next. Vi, is that you? What are you doing here? Vi pleads that Betty needs to come back to St. Joe. I wouldn't have bothered you if it wasn't important. Betty invites everyone to come in for coffee. She reminisces how the entire town of St. Joe turned their backs on her, and even her entire family. Her father couldn't even look at her. Her mother would just cry. If it wasn't for Vi, she would have never made it to California. Vi and Hollywood need her help. Things are getting pretty bad back home. They've tried reaching out to her for months. Betty tries to explain. They don't understand. She hasn't been back in that town since she was 18 years old. Sam's father threatened to kill us both if we had that baby. They were determined to love one another. Ern and Vi helped us to get to another parish about 3 hours away from St. Joe. And then we got married. Betty's grandmother left her a piece of land, and they thought they would be together forever. While packing up and gearing to go west, Sam shows up at the last minute with a black eye and a wad of cash. Sam's father beat him up, threatened to cut him off if he left with Betty. Betty begged Sam to stay, but he was more afraid of being broke. Their marriage is still legal, but the only thing standing between the Borderlones and the Landrys is the land that she has claim to. They are about to bulldoze over Ernest's farm. They need Betty's help. Micah is heading to New York. His grandmother is letting him use an apartment on the Upper West Side. She's hooking him up with a big fund manager that's interested in financing an NFT collection. Ralph Angel notices that Micah doesn't sound too excited. Micah is only concerned. The last time he tried to invest and go that route, it blew up in his face. Ralph wants to talk about one more thing before Micah leaves. He can't get Chase out of his head. They both agree. Ralph felt that he was at peace before Chase popped up. Ralph has had a nice family, an apartment he can afford. The co-op is still developing. Things were going well. How can I just let things go? I want Chase to feel hurt. And just letting that go, I just can't. Micah suggests that speaking with Darla again is the best route. His feelings matter as well. He's hurt. They need to talk about everything. Billy and Nova prep dinner, but Dominic won't be joining them. He's helping his students with their thesis presentations. Billy is curious. Did he ever apologize for reading your material? He did. They talked about it and he apologized over and over, but Nova is still hurt. She promised to be open more. She thought she was being open in her own way, but I guess not. I'm still learning. They have been together for almost a year. Billy has some good news. She proposed to Vince. They are still in love. They hug with joy and Nova congratulates her. She's giving their love another try. Nova offers to do a reunification blessing if they'd like. Her Aunt Martha did it for her folks when they got back together. She's due to pay her aunt a visit, so when she's there, she can get a refresher of what to do. Billy loves the idea. Ralph practices his speech to address the USDA concerning the inequities and treatment of black farmers. He's nervous and begins to fumble over his words. Darla wants him to be confident and know that he can do it. He thanks her for being a wonderful partner, and Darla thanks him for such sweet words. That's great to hear out of nowhere. She feels the same way about him. Now for the difficult topic. He wants to talk about Chase. He is still finding it hard to let go. Doesn't she want him to pay for what he did? You're not worried about him being in the same city as Blue? He even said that he wanted nothing to do with Blue, like he's trash. I mean, doesn't that make you feel some type of way? Darla assures that he signed the paperwork and there's nothing to worry about. Getting him to pay is not on her mind. She just wants to move on. Ralph makes a comment under his breath that she always has the answers, doesn't she? Which angers Darla. He shouldn't say things and walk away. He should finish the conversation he started, but he's firm in ending the conversation. I'm finished. Billy and Prosper give encouragement to Ralph while entering into the USDA meeting. Miller pulls up and says, "I did all I can do to help you people, and all you did was pull this stunt. You're gonna need some help in there anyway." Ralph is headstrong. It's not a stunt, it's facts. When Miller enters the building, it's like seeing one of his old friends as he's greeted with one of the members of the council. Ralph is pissed. You see how they do? They're all in this club together. All they do is get together to make things harder for us. Prosper wants to speak with Ralph alone. Look, forget them white people. You're standing for us, for yourself, for your father. Ernest would be so proud of you right now. He is proud of you. He knew that you would grow up to be the man that you were meant to be. And here you are. Just speak your heart. Speak for your father. Betty wants to know, when is the last time Vi saw her daughter? Vi is honest that the last time she saw Parker, it wasn't so pleasant. Parker was speaking against them at the last council meeting, voting against the board loans to overturn the decision of Ernest's land being a landmark, and also to dig up their ancestors' remains. Betty doesn't get this Parker character she's created. The name on her birth certificate is Imani Arsenault. Sam got into her head, telling her that she couldn't get into Wharton if her name was Imani, and she believed him. She rejected me and believed him. Vi thinks that Parker still has her strength, and she doesn't have to take on this matter alone. She will support her. Betty is thankful for Vi, and as much as she loves her, going back to St. Joe just won't be about the land. She is willing to do whatever she can to get her daughter back. The meeting begins, and some of the audio playback from Miller's discriminative remarks play. Now everyone will hear from Ralph concerning the recording. His statement will go into the official records, their regional branch, all who are present, as well as the state senator representing Louisiana's Architectural Committee. Ralph clears his throat and begins. Good afternoon. My name is Ralph Angel Bordelon out of St. Josephine Parish. That tape you heard is not an isolated incident. Happens all the time. The Boudreaux and Landry family are now 18 months past due on their loans, and they still occupy that property. My neighbor, Mrs. Parthena Gilmore, a black woman, she fell behind 90 days and got evicted off of her land that her family has owned for generations. The local USDA, it's no secret that there are individuals that discriminate against black farmers, and has been ever since we had land to farm. Ralph Angel is then cut off by a member of the council. Mr. Bordelon, are you aware that the government paid out an additional $1.2 billion in settlement funds in 2013? That was the time you were incarcerated, isn't that right? Miller smirks from across the room, but Ralph keeps his calm. Yes, that's correct. I was incarcerated when I was younger, made some mistakes and did some time, and I paid for them. And I came back home ready to work, just like my father. He worked hard for his family, thinking he was climbing a ladder, but it didn't exist. When men like Sam Landry get to play by their own rules, what ladder? My baby girl, True, she's 10 months, and my son is 11. I'm not here on behalf of what I want and my dreams. It's for them in hopes that things will get better, get different, and hopefully for their kids too. I mean, it has to stop, and I won't give up. Ralph is cut off again by the same council member pushing to end the meeting, but the representative from the Louisiana Agriculture Committee, she wants to hear and read more about this matter in the next meeting. She requests Mr. Miller's case records from the past decade. She, along with her office, will go through everything, and they will share their findings in the next State Agriculture Committee meeting. She will also need the Landry's USDA loan history as well. And what was the other name you mentioned, sir? Ralph responds, Boudreaux. Okay, thank you, Mr. Bordelon, for coming in and sharing this information and experience with us today. Micah watches the news recap. With just 4 weeks to go until Election Day, progressive candidate Charlie Bordelon trails by 5 points behind John Green in the polls. This race will be one to watch closely. A woman admires the soundbite while standing behind Micah. You know your mom. She's badass. I sat with her on a panel at Harvard. Women changing the cultural landscape. She had the audience on their feet at the end. I'm Ray. Micah is shocked. When my grandmother said that she was setting me up with a funds manager named Ray, I was expecting, and Ray interrupts. Let me guess, a white tech bro? Listen, I get it. It's what we're used to, but it doesn't have to be what it is. That's why I put together my own fund. My pitch to investors was simple. Finding propulsive ideas that are going to shake up the world should be spearheaded by those who inherit the world, young people who will know what appeals to us, right? So what I want to know is what makes an up-and-coming photographer leave an established place and go out and get his own? You're either crazy or brave. Micah knows how to answer. Ever since he picked up a camera, he felt this pull. He wants to create something for us in Web3, decidedly and definitively Black, world-changing. Ray smiles. He sounds like an idealist, the best kind of people. But she didn't just build this fun on dreams. She built it on data, on hard facts and authenticity. It can be profitable. She believes that. They really need to delve into his creative portfolio and business plan. Micah is ready for it all. It's now time to have a little dinner. They've got to eat before they change the world. Nova takes a visit to Aunt Martha, but the knocks are unanswered. Pearl introduces herself. She's the neighbor next door, but Pearl has bad news. I'm sorry, dear. Martha crossed over last month. They entered the home, and anyone can tell the home is lifeless. Plants are overgrown or dead. The past few weeks have been hard. Martha would always lead them in their prayers. Wow, you look just like them. Those Lavoisier women had a regal look about them. I mean, you could see it in their eyes. I knew True, she had a good gift. Nova feels bad. She hasn't kept up with this side of her roots. She feels like it's all a loss now. Pearl, though, directs her to a book Martha left for her. I'll give you some privacy, but I'll be across the way if you need me. The book holds clippings of land and side notes of moments in time, eyes to the soul. Ray shows Micah around a club that displays Black art, and he loves the energy of the room. He also meets Blaze, an incredible performing artist and supportive of the Ford Foundation, a favorite of Dan Walker himself. She even heard of Micah. She wasn't a fan of his NFT about his mom, but his recent photos showing the hurricane season cleanup was amazing. Even with all of that pain, he captured connection. And that's what it's all about, connection. We need more of that. What's cooking now? Oh, it's Liza. She works for Shanari Freeman at Candace. She has the best vegan soul food you'll ever have. She made New York Times for the most exciting restaurant. Those sisters can burn. It's a night of fun as Micah is slowly introduced to more people. Parker didn't think that there would be so much drama to get things rolling. Maybe we should try the finesse tactics. I didn't plan on being here this long. Whatever you're doing, it isn't working. Sam is frustrated. There's always something with those people. For people like that, only dominance works. The council will vote in our favor, and all this loan stuff and issues will disappear. And you, a Black descendant, have domain over those properties. It's a full circle moment for me. It's fate. It's perfect. Sam is happy to lead the Landry Enterprise board meeting. Usually their meetings are closed, but with this project like this, it starts and stops will need to be shared. We wanted full visibility so you will know this time it's real. Parker moves now to vote. All in favor of finalizing the sale of the land for commercial development. Prosper interrupts. Before the vote, according to the Hamilton bylaws, he can make some closing remarks. He's a longtime farmer in the community and proud member of the farming co-op. Parker gloats. Okay, go ahead. It's community farmer comments time. There are a few laughs that come from the table. Prosper smiles and then opens the door. It's Betty. Sam, how are you going to sell land that isn't yours? Mama, what are you doing here? Yes. Hello, baby. I'm doing something I should have done a long time ago. I've come to get you. I've let your father turn you into something that I don't even recognize. And for what? Money is worthless if you're miserable, and I'm miserable. And I think you are too. Parker pauses. Mama, please, it's a done deal. It's what keeps your checks coming every month, so don't bite the hand, Mom. Sam shockingly tells Parker, "Watch your mouth, partner." Betty continues, but now addresses the room. "Part of the land that Sam is leveraging is mine. Ours. Mine and my daughter's." Now Parker seems shocked. Betty shows Parker their marriage license. They never filed for divorce. And this document is signed by Sam and his father. Vi and Ern helped her decide what to ask for: a lump sum and quarterly payments according to the interest rates, plus full custody of you and the land. Billy figured that's why he never divorced. He figured as long as we were legally wed, it was his, and he counted on me never to come back. "I'm coming back for my daughter." "Mom, I live in Atlanta, and to be honest, I could care less about this place myself. I just want my money." Betty doesn't want to hear it. She's selling out the border loans, wanting to bulldoze over land containing our ancestors, allowing her father to take away from her what he promised. She's better than this. She comes from a family that's better than that. "Imani, step away from this mess." She stands up to her mother and says, "It's Parker." Nova feels like she failed her aunt. She should have not only learned more about her mother's side of the family, but she should have been more in tune with them, more visits. I haven't cultivated those connections or even practiced it. I can hardly remember the blessings and incantations, chants, herbs. I don't know how I got here. Billy thinks that if Nova believes the connections from the ancestors are still among us, then she can do the work to connect again. It's not too late. Then Parker shows up. Billy remembers that was her at one point, going to the bar to drown her thoughts. I mean, maybe they should talk to her, but Nova says hell no. Billy thinks that seeing her as the enemy should change. She'll go talk to her like a human being. I mean, it may change some things, you never know. Billy orders a drink for Parker. That man she encouraged Billy to talk to or call back, she did. And now they're getting married. She knows a little something about coming back home and blowing things up. She didn't leave for Chicago. She was run out, just like her mom and her. You ever ask why your mother left? Parker says she tried to reach out to her mom several times, but she shuts down. Billy points out that after everything your mom has went through, she came back, she faced Sam, and she's back for her. Ralph comes back home, and Vi invited them to come over for dinner and meet Betty. Darla is now scared. She thought everything with Chase was over. I didn't want to bring up all this stuff again, but if it hurts Ralph, she'll do it. Ralph doesn't want to hurt Darla, but if they don't settle some things now, then things won't change. He thinks that they should tell Blue about Chase. It's not unlikely for Blue to eventually find out. Darla doesn't want Blue to associate with what happened to her that night with him. That's not who he is, and he's so much more. Blue is 11. He's too young to hear it. And where's all this coming from? Ralph is firm with his words. It's better coming from us, and Blue is smart as hell. I don't want him catching up with what is our understanding and not connecting. It's coming from my gut. When Charlie would visit us during the summer, I knew we had the same mom, but Pops never talked about it. But it hurt all of us. I know how it feels, and I don't want that for Blue. I don't want Blue going through that. Darla replies, Blue isn't you. And he's too young, and it's too soon. No. Betty vents how Sam will never forgive her, and she feels like she lost her daughter. Vi consoles her. Look, I know I'm not a mom, but I know about raising a child and then letting them go. I know you felt that you did the best that you could do, but I'm sure that girl has more of you in her than she can notice. Sam pops up and he wants to speak with Betty. Vi leaves the room and gives them privacy. Sam brought the paperwork, giving her the land. He can't afford for this to go public. And after all of these years, she still takes his breath away. You ever wonder what our love would have been like? Betty thinks about it all of the time. Everything would have been different. Not just our lives, but our daughter. This whole town could have been different. And you could have made that happen, fighting hatred and setting an example, but you're weak. And you took the easy way out. A coward. Sam wishes that he could have been stronger. And even now. But Billy then turns her back to the conversation. And Sam leaves. Ralph is the only one to show up for dinner, but he makes up a story that Darla had to stay home with the baby. Betty is excited to meet Ralph. She knew his dad and is proud of everything he's doing with the co-op. She gives Ralph the property deed that Sam stole in her name. That land has just been sitting there all of these years. She knows that he will put it to good use. Build a new house on it, farm it, sell it, get your land back, whatever. Just make good use of it. Make it mean something. Ralph can't believe it. For so long, things have been all over the place since he lost the land. He felt so lost, awkward. He wondered if everything they worked for was worth it. But now, you blessing me with this, I know that he's still watching, telling me to keep going. Thank you so much, Miss Betty. Prosper later joins dinner, and it's laughing about good old days. Betty and others used to follow Prosper around because he was so cool, and everyone had a crush on Ern. And Betty jokes that she could have been Ralph's mom. Then Nova, Billy, and Parker show up. Parker came to apologize. She didn't know the entire story, that he abandoned her, them. Why didn't you tell me, Mom? Betty didn't want Parker to walk with that same bitterness she did for so long. Parker begins to turn away, but Nova wants her to stay. Betty and Vi encourage her to stay. Please, there's a lot of food. Come on, sit down. Betty holds her daughter, and Vi starts the laughs again, starting to point out to Prosper, this man was in the middle of telling a lie, and everyone laughs, enjoying the moment. And that is the end of the episode. And now is your favorite part of the video. That's right, my review. We only have 2 episodes left, and thank you guys. I know that you guys are noticing. I know that you'll notice in this video, I am a little bit stuffy. Let me tell you, in the state of Texas, when it gets, to anything below 70 degrees, it's freezing. And everybody's allergies are just jacked up. We got coats and gloves and booties on and hats. I mean, you would think it was 20 degrees outside, but the temperature has dropped and everybody's cutting the heat on. It's so crazy. So I'm pushing through this review. So for this episode, I thought it was great. I thought it got a little soap opera-ish when it got to stopping the meeting and, this is my land. It kind of got a little Tyler Perry-ish right there, but that's okay. I know they got to kind of wrap it up. It's happened several times in soap operas. Oh, wait, you can't sell what's not yours. Oh, read this. And I was kind of like, really? I thought they could have did it a little bit more, something with a little bit more creative. And, maybe Betty, she's a mystery. And then at the end, she kind of pulls through with paperwork but anyway, I digress. I think it's interesting that Parker, right? Imani, right? Mama name it Imani. I'm going to call it Imani, right? That Imani, she gave the real name to Billy, right? Remember a few episodes back, she told her that her name was Imani. And we learned now, we know that was her real name. Maybe that was her moment to feel like she was connecting with somebody else Black who didn't know her, right? Because she's been hanging out with her dad for so long and kind of denying who she is. It was kind of like this new evolution for Imani. And learning who she is okay, and she doesn't have to deny who she is. And Sam raising her, that her Blackness and who she wasn't enough, and it wasn't beautiful, and her name wasn't beautiful, just kind of denouncing a part of her identity. And now we're seeing her sit down and enjoy a meal, and people saying, hey, that's the past. Join this conversation, girl. Get you something to eat. We just trying to, make this right. Girl, sit down, And I love that moment where it's just kind of like, hey, you didn't know the truth. You know the truth now. What are you going to do with it? And Imani making that decision and, dang, I didn't know. And mama, why didn't you tell me? Her mama could have told her though. Like, really? She's like, I don't understand this Parker character. Maybe that Parker character wouldn't have evolved in her mind like that psychologically if you reached out to your daughter. Like, come on now. That's just me. I'm not a parent. But somebody threatening me and doing all, look, I would have got the courts involved. Forget that. Like, my key dada, me and you, us never part. You cannot keep me away from my child, And the fact that she allowed her daughter to kind of just be engulfed and Sam and getting into her head and all this other stuff. I'm like, look, y'all in this small parish of St. Joe. Okay, I would have went to a bigger city and sued. All right. I know the Landrys got money and they got power and all this other stuff, but facts are facts. I mean, if you got proof of somebody threatening you and that's your child and you got to move and all so, like, come on now. I would have done something. At least I would have, at the end of the day, knew that I would have put my best foot forward and trying, right? I think that would have settled with Imani more, knowing that her mom at least tried to come get her, at least tried to constantly be a part of her life. The fact that she went to another parish and was just like, oh, Sam, came with a black eye and water cash and, Vi and Earn helped me come to, what I could get with a settlement and all this stuff. So it's like, man, but that's just me. I'm ready for them to wrap this up. We got 2 episodes left. I really don't want them adding any more storyline, nothing. I want them to wrap it up. I'm pushing the button. Remember the wrap it up box button on Dave Chappelle's show? When you push the little button, wrap it up. Wrap it up. Time to bring this series to a close. Let us know about the land. Is you or is you ain't, right? You gonna get the land? Ralph Angel getting rained on by land here. You get a deed. You get a deed. You get a deed. You get money and you get this. Ralph, don't mess it up. Ralph is so stubborn, okay? As Southern people say, stubborn. And you got the land. I wonder, is he telling Darla about this? Is he telling Darla he just getting rained on with the settlement that he got this land from Betty? Hopefully he'll mention that. It's a little frustrating that they're bringing up the stuff with Chase and Blue with only 2 episodes left. Now, I did say in the recap and the review with the whole episode with Chase, I was like, I really don't like that. I really don't like that he signed all this documentation, kind of sweeping him under the rug because that's what Darla wanted because of her experience. It was unfair to Blue. So I'm glad that I wasn't crazy for thinking that, because in this episode, it's like, what if Blue finds out like he's smart? When the line when Ralph said, I mean, Blue's smart as hell. Like, really, you think he's not going to find out? Like, you don't think he's going to be, you know what I'm saying? Drifting on a memory and find something. Come on now. Or find his old photograph. I mean, he might roll up onto something back down memory lane and say, well, mama, what happens if I need a kidney and then I find out that Ralph Angel, aka my daddy, is not a match? You gonna bring that up to him then? I mean, come on, son. But anywho, I just hope that the writing doesn't get too sloppy when it comes to bringing everything to a close. Like, wrap that up with Chase. They could have given more time with the Chase and Blue situation, because my good guess is that when we go into these next couple episodes, Blue's gonna say, well, I know. I looked it up on the internet and I found out who he was, and I figured it out. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Blue, being as smart as he is, remember he been hacking computers. It wouldn't surprise me if he hacked on something and found all that out. And it was like, well, I was just waiting on y'all to tell me. I mean, me and this dude got the same round kickball head. I mean, come on. But hopefully they will bring that up, and, because it's just like with 2 episodes left, they bring that up to him. We just gonna give those 2 episodes left just with Blue and finding out something so detrimental in the last 2 episodes. Like, really? Come on, Ava DuVernay. Come on, girl. I really want to know how they're gonna wrap this up. I'm excited. And for those of you who have been rocking with me this season, I love you guys. I hope y'all just appreciate my editing and time sleep deprivation with all of this, because I was doing 5 shows at a time, and y'all, I am exhausted. But I hope y'all have enjoyed this. I'm loving it. I really thought this episode was it was all right. Let me know what you think. Subscribe, hit that like button. Donate to the channel if you want to. Follow me on Instagram at the same profile name, officialbunne_e. Leave your comments down below. Hit me up in the DMs, whatever. I love talking to y'all. In the meantime, in between time, stay tuned for the final 2 episodes of Queen Sugar. Remember to take care of yourself and each other. Oh, and enjoy the holidays, y'all. Bye.